What is up, everybody? Thursday night football. I got some player props for you here. We got 4 of them. Let's get into the plays. Pick number 1, we're starting off with a big name. Bo Collins, a household name, taking the over 15.5 receiving yards here for Bo Collins. Bo Collins has kind of been hiding on the active roster for this Giants team after having a fairly big preseason. He had one 80-yard catch in the preseason, made some splashes there in camp and whatnot. But with Darius Slayton and Malik Neighbors now going down and missing this game, Bo Collins is going to slot into at least the wide receiver 3 role. Wouldn't even be surprised if he was the wide receiver 2 in this offense. Never really had a big season in college, but obviously he has a talent that has kept him on the NFL roster here so far this season. I think that this value is pretty prominent considering we have him projected for over 21 receiving yards here. So give me the over on Bo Collins, 15.5 receiving yards. Pick number 2, Theo Johnson, over 3.5 receptions. I talked about him and finding the end zone a couple times, a couple different spots last week in some of my content, but taking his over 3.5 grabs for this one. Saw a big role with no Malik Neighbors, no Darius Slayton for missing some of that game last week. 7 targets, was second on the team in terms of routes ran. So taking the over on Theo Johnson and his catches tonight. Third pick, obviously you guys probably know I'm not a huge narrative guy, but I do have a little bit of a narrative here. Taking the over on Saquon Barkley and his rushing yards at 84.5. Obviously it's been a rough start to the season for Saquon Barkley. He hasn't been able to really get anything going on the ground so far this year, but last week was a different occurrence in terms of his struggles. He only had 6 carries. That's not really allowed for a Saquon Barkley type offensive production week. But this week I do think there's a little bit of a narrative considering he's going into MetLife to face his former team in the New York Giants. Obviously we all know there's some bad blood there. Even if you throw away that narrative, it's a fantastic matchup. This Giants team has allowing the 4th most yards per carry so far this season and allowing the 7th most yards on explosive runs so far in the NFL. And obviously we know Saquon can get it done in bunches. So give me the over on Saquon and his rushing yard today. Last but not least, we're taking Jalen Hurts to find the end zone. Obviously this Eagles offense has had their fair share of struggles, but one thing that has not struggled is that tush push. Minus 125, minus 130 is where this number is being, published. I think, again, I'm sort of backing myself or backing myself into a corner and countering what I just said about Saquon Barkley in that narrative. But I think we're seeing a bit of value here on a Jalen Hurts touchdown because everyone's so, assumptive of the Eagles finding the end zone for Saquon Barkley on the ground. And while I think Saquon does score tonight, I also think Jalen Hurts scores 1, maybe even 2. Last year, when they played the Giants for the first time at MetLife Stadium, Saquon had 175 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns. So I think it's more than likely we're going to see a few tush-push opportunities for Jalen Hurts. So I think this minus 124 number is giving us a little bit of value here for Jalen Hurts to find the end zone. More picks like these, check out scoresandodds.com and subscribe to the Scores Odds YouTube channel. See you next time.